Here is a quick summary of the case of Nicaragua versus Germany at the World Court, where Germany was charged with facilitating the commission of genocide in Gaza. The case was heard at the International Court of Justice in The Hague on the 8th and 9th of April, following South Africa versus Israel, in which the same court found that there is a plausible case of Israel committing genocide in Gaza. Despite this ruling, Germany remains one of Israel's strongest supporters, supplying military, financial, and diplomatic support and maintaining that Israel's actions are justified following the 7th of October attacks by Hamas. Nicaragua opened the case by setting out Germany's legal obligations. These include, under the 1948 Genocide Convention, Germany is prohibited from being complicit in genocide, which includes aiding or assisting a state where there is a risk of genocide. In fact, its legal obligation is to use its best efforts to prevent genocide. From the first days of Israel's military actions in Gaza, it was clear that grave violations of international law were being committed by Israel, as alarms had been raised by the UN Secretary General, the International Committee of the Red Cross, and a range of UN special rapporteurs. If these warnings were insufficient, the ICJ explicitly found that there is a plausible case that Israel is committing genocide in its judgment on the 26th of January 24, also finding that the conditions in Gaza are catastrophic and exceptionally grave with serious risk of irreversible harm. Germany is therefore required to cease aiding or assisting Israel as a genocide is underway. On the 12th of October, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stated, quote, "There is only one place for Germany, it is at the side of Israel," end quote. And the foreign minister later confirmed that Germany is offering Israel all of their support in every area. In 2023, Germany provided over $300 million of arms to Israel, more than 10 times that of the year before, with the vast majority provided after the 7th of October, around 30% of Israel's total imports. This includes German-made drones, anti-tank weapons, which can equally be used to target vehicles, buildings, and people, and 500,000 rounds of machine gun ammunition. Nicaragua also stated that the Palestinians are the test subject for Israel's arms industry, and that German companies are directly profiting from the genocide with their share prices rising. In response, Germany stated that it has learned from its past, including its responsibility for the Holocaust, giving Germany a perpetual duty to stand up for Israel. This includes supporting Israel's right to self-defense following the attacks by Hamas on the 7th of October, allowing Israel to conduct its military operations in Gaza. It has also supplied $4.5 billion in humanitarian aid to Palestinians, helping them with capacity building and infrastructure over many decades. In fact, Germany remains one of the largest donors of humanitarian aid to Palestine, including $236 million in 2023 and nearly $70 million so far in 2024. About the military supplies, Germany stated that they were mainly for equipment, including communications tools and protective gear, and that export of weapons of war had radically reduced to Israel after the 7th of October. It was also argued that for Germany to be held complicit, the legal requirement is that it intentionally insisted in the commission of wrongful acts, which Germany says is not the case. The judgment for provisional measures is expected in the next few weeks, although a full judgment in the case will be an extra 1 or 2 years. But here is my view on the issue. On Israel's right to self-defense. Firstly, the atrocities committed by Hamas on the 7th of October did not happen in a vacuum, but after 56 years of illegal occupation by Israel and 17 years of illegal blockade on the people of Gaza. Palestinians have the right to self-determination, meaning a legal right to take up arms against Israel as an occupying power. Violations of international law committed by Hamas on the 7th of October are inexcusable, but do not remove Palestinians' right to resist their occupation by force, as affirmed by the UN General Assembly. As an occupying power, Israel does not have a right to self-defense against those that it occupies. Instead, it actually has a legal responsibility to ensure public order and safety in Gaza. In any case, it is never legally permissible to rely on self-defense for the commission of genocide. In relation to Germany's complicity, Germany is fully aware of the serious risk that genocide is taking place in Gaza. Apart from the staggering death toll and destruction, the most senior UN officials and the ICJ itself has given repeated warnings. Nonetheless, Germany continues to provide military aid to Israel. The argument that it is mostly protective gear and communication tools doesn't really hold up. Ultimately, these resources are vital to Israel's military operations, and IDF soldiers would not be operating in Gaza without protective gear or communication tools. Apart from military support, Germany continues to give diplomatic support in all forums. As Nicaragua pointed out, without such support, Israel would not be acting with complete impunity. In relation to humanitarian aid, yes, Germany has been spending on humanitarian aid, but surely far better than aid would be to stop supporting the conditions that are making Palestinians need aid. Palestinians have a right to self-determination and not be subject to genocide. Rather than sending charity, Germany could support Palestine's right to live freely, or at least stop blocking it. Finally, on Germany's justification for supporting Israel by reference to the Holocaust. During the Holocaust, Germany undertook a campaign of ethnic extermination of 6 million Jews and over 1 million Roma, Gypsies, disabled people, homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, and political dissidents. Germany justified this extermination due to a belief in their own racial supremacy. It makes no sense whatsoever for Germany to justify a genocide against the Palestinians based on its commission of atrocities against other people in the past. On the contrary, surely the lesson from the Holocaust is that we should not be committing genocide at all, whether against Jews or anyone else. Also, Israel should not be confused with the Jewish people. From the beginning of Israel's creation, Jewish people have actually been highly critical of Israel's actions. In 1948, a group of leading Jewish intellectuals, including Albert Einstein and Hannah Arendt, stated that the Israeli Freedom Party, which is now the ruling Likud party of Israel, is a political party, quote, closely akin in its organization methods, political philosophy and social appeal to the Nazi and fascist parties, end quote. Today, Jewish communities are standing up against the genocide in Gaza, including the Jewish Voice for Peace, If Not Now, Namad UK, and the Nuterai Charta, which states that Zionism and Judaism are diametrically opposed. However, Germany's foreign policy seems to ignore these Jewish voices and instead support the Israeli government. Germany's position suggests that it has actually learned nothing from the Holocaust. Rather, its continuation for support for Israel is actually consistent with its genocidal past. Indeed, as Einstein and others point out, support for Israel is actually perpetuating Nazi philosophy rather than countering it. If Germany seeks to amend for its past and comply with international law, it should immediately cease the illegal arms trade with Israel, cease trading with illegal Israeli settlers, and support the Palestinian right to self-determination, free from ethnic cleansing and genocide of its people by Israel. Thanks for watching.